TCI is brought to you by TaylorMade Stallion Unbridled Song, producing top songs year after year, including 13 Grade 1 winners. Visit unbridledsong.com.
Welcome back to TCI, your inside track to the Triple Crown. I'm John Siegel alongside Joel Cunningham. Joel, before we start the show, give me an update on Bob Baffert. At this point, everyone knows Bob had a heart attack while in Dubai. He's had surgery, recovering well, but I know you have an update from him.
Yeah, I don't have a ton to report. He just texted me back and said he's doing well, he's in good spirits, and he hopes to get out in a couple days, John. They feel like it's something they caught relatively early, so it wasn't a real invasive type procedure that they had to go through. Just had to get a couple stents put in. He's obviously in great hands in Dubai, and it looks like if he gets out in a couple days, he'll get to do what he came there to do, which is to run Game On Dude and the Factor for all that money this weekend in Dubai, and then hopefully he'll be able to travel back here soon, because Bob, you got a busy April and May coming up with your Derby starters.
He definitely does. Joel, let's talk now about one of his charges. It was Castaway in the Sunland Derby. We said last week it would be very interesting in the beginning of the race to see how Ender Knievel and Castaway would break out of the gate. Joel, they break out of the gate and go crazy on the front end. To me, the race was over right there.
Yeah, there's no question. Bob couldn't have been happy about the result of this race, but you knew that was going to be their strategy. I mean, he said it before. Horse has one way to go, and that's to the lead. So we talked about it last week. We really thought the result of the Sunland Derby was going to be predicated on the strategy in the first half mile between Ender Knievel and Castaway, drawing the 1 and 2 hole next to each other. Two horses that were not only big-time contenders, but also two horses that had a lot of natural speed, John. And certainly we knew Raphael was going to send away from there. John Velasquez chose to go with him. And not only to go 22 seconds, which is unbelievably fast for a mile and an eighth, but then, even though they slow it down a little bit, they still do a half in 46, and they do it in the worst way. I mean, these two horses are eyeballing down the backstretch.
Right.
It's just a very stressful trip for any type of horse, John. I mean, that is a classic speed duel, and obviously both horses had nothing once they reached the far turn at that point. Now, it's one thing to know at Sunland Park, for a lot of viewers that aren't familiar with that circuit, there is an altitude issue there that a lot of horses don't acclimate to. I know firsthand, so that could always play into it a little bit too, in which horse is acclimated or not. But when you go that fast, you're going to have a hard time finishing, and certainly both those horses burnt their races up early.
Well, no one was more happy about them burning it up on the front end than was Daddy Knows Best. Jockey Julian Leparoux comes running late, takes home the money, goes from the 19th spot on the graded earnings list all the way up to the 6th spot. Joel, he's earned a seat in the Kentucky Derby and looks like they're going to go. But did he do enough to get on the TCI top 10?
Not yet, John. He doesn't for me. If some others disappoint, then maybe he can get on that list. I personally like the Spiral outcome a little more. But, you know, you have to respect this colt. You know, Steve Asmussen's won a lot of races at Sunland.
Right.
He had to have been elated when he saw 22 and 46 in front of his colt, knowing that they were probably going to back up, and he had a stretch runner. But this colt has won 2 races in a mile and an eighth. On the dirt, synthetic, he showed good form on the turf. A lot of people thought he was just a turf horse early in his career. He's a big strapping colt. He's by Scat Daddy. Not sure how far he's going to want to run, but we know he likes a mile and an eighth. And look, he deserves to be in the Kentucky Derby off of back-to-back graded wins. I don't know what he's beat, but obviously going 148 and change, that's a fast time, John. He got 100 Beyer speed figure, so he belongs in the race.
All right, the other horse that earned his ticket to the Kentucky Derby was Team Ballers. Went the day well. They win the Spiral again. They're pointing this horse towards the Kentucky Derby. They were high on this horse coming in, and they were rewarded.
Yeah, it just shows you they knew what they were talking about, John. They talked about how he was further along than Animal Kingdom. We all should have listened. I think Ed did. He loved the horse in the race. Validated it with just a great stretch run in here. You know, I thought he was a little green in the stretch. I'm not sure what he ran away from. You know, this whole weekend's a little hard for me to decipher every year, because we know these races can be productive, the Sunland Derby and the Spiral, but you have one on the poly track and you have another one, obviously with the altitude and a lesser known circuit out there at Sunland. It's just hard to know the class and deciphering the results of the performances. So I'm not sure how good the performance was for Went the Day Well and what he beat. It visually was impressive to me in the stretch. He took that step forward, but that was on the synthetic. Again, if I look at his dirt races at Gulfstream, they weren't as impressive to me. So here's a colt that I still think needs to improve. They think he needs to improve too, because they're going to run him once more in the Lexington Stakes, which makes it interesting because now he's going to have 3 races in a 6-week time period.
All right, is he on the TCI top 10 at this point?
You know, he gets close, John. He doesn't quite make the top 10 for me. When I talk about the top 10 Derby contenders and their credentials on the dirt, the only thing I can really judge him by is his dirt form, because the synthetic plays so much different than the dirt does, John. It doesn't surprise me like the synthetic. I mean, here's a horse that's trained at Fair Hill on the synthetic for Grand Motion, so they probably had a little indication that he would like that surface.
Right.
Quite honestly, his races at Gulfstream weren't as good as that synthetic win, even though he's improving, and I know he has the pedigree and the connections to get the job done. I just personally think that there are 10 other better contenders right now. He's going to have to show more improvement, and he also has those 3 races in a 6-week period.
All right, Joel, let's switch now and talk about this weekend. We have the Florida Derby and also the Louisiana Derby.
Yeah.
They've already drawn the Louisiana Derby, so we're going to tell you guys about it. Joel, it's $1 million. The thing that's interesting about this race, we thought we were going to see El Patrino. We thought we might see Alpha in here. Those 2 horses decided to go in other directions. It left this race for $1 million wide open for me.
Yeah, you just said it's why you get 14. You get a full group in here, John. And just to show you the quality of the race, your morning line favorite, Mark Valesky, is just an allowance winner.
Right.
Now, I know he gave El Padrino everything he wanted last time out in the Risen Star. There's no question that Mark Valesky has some quality to him, but the bottom line is being an allowance winner and your favorite for $1 million just shows you the quality of this field. And then look at Cigar Street, another colt. I mean, I thought his maiden win was as good as any maiden win I've seen recently. But the bottom line is they were concerned that he might bounce in this race, and they were thinking about maybe running him in the Derby trial. I think it was between the owner and the trainer there on what they wanted to do, and they decided to run this horse in the Louisiana Derby off his last work.
Right.
Not sure if he's going to bounce. I think he has some quality, but he's your second choice in here, and he's only a maiden winner, and they almost didn't run him. So that shows you how wide open of a group we have.
Well, we had 2 horses that could potentially ship over from South Florida. That was Discreet Dancer and also another maiden winner, Armed Force. Tell me about Discreet Dancer.
Well, Discreet Dancer did not enter in the race, obviously. He didn't make the entries. And a contact I have in the racing office at Fairgrounds said that Todd Pletcher reported this colt had a physical issue that caused him to miss this race, which is very disappointing. We obviously know the horse has some quality, but it changes the whole pace perspective of the race. I mean, I think with Hero of Order, and I think your other sharp humor colt, Comiskey's Humor, is a track record holder at 5 furlongs,
right,
stretching out to a mile and 1/8. I think they're going to put on plenty of pace in this race, but I think Discreet Dancer would just have assured that, John, and we didn't really see much pace in the LeCompte or the Risen Star, so I wanted to see Discreet Dancer in here. We're not going to see it now. You mentioned Armed Force. He is very intriguing for me. I mean, he's a full brother to Well Armed. We are so impressed with it, the way he finished in that 1-turn race, breaking his main at Gulfstream. It really caught the eye, and we talked about him on this show. And you just know with this pedigree, he's just going to stretch out and get better as the distances get longer. Well, they're going to breeze him. We talked to Doug Cawthon. They're going to breeze him Tuesday morning.
Right.
If the horse breezes well enough, they're going to put him on the plane, send him over to New Orleans. If he doesn't, then they're going to point for the Illinois Derby. So there's no guarantee we're going to see Armed Force in here, but I think he's an intriguing contender if he comes.
Well, it's going to be an intriguing weekend of racing with both the Louisiana Derby and the Florida
Huge
Derby.
weekend.
Thank you guys for watching. Make sure you come back on Thursday. We're going to preview the Florida Derby for you.